We will discuss the new updates on CPR in children as per the American Heart Association 2020. There are certain important modifications in the medication use of epinephrine, airway, breathing, application of cricoid pressure, opioid overdose, and addition of a sixth chain of survival. AHA 2020 has reaffirmed the use of high-quality CPR in improving mortality. The components include adequate rate, which is 100 to 120 per minute, and adequate depth, which is more than one-third of anterior-posterior diameter of the chest. We need to allow full chest recoil, minimize interruptions, and rotate compressor roll every 2 minutes. An early use of epinephrine has been advocated in the recent modification for non-shockable rhythms. The initial dose of epinephrine has to be administered within 5 minutes of starting chest compression. For those with arterial line in place, feedback from continuous measurement of arterial blood pressure may improve CPR quality with improved survival and favorable neurological outcome. It has been studied that infants with a diastolic blood pressure of more than 25 mm of mercury and children with more than 30 mm of mercury have been associated with favorable outcomes. A special consideration has been given to children with acute myocarditis who demonstrate arrhythmias, ST segment changes with or without low cardiac output. These children need early consideration of transfer to ICU and adequate monitoring. For refractory low cardiac output, pre-arrest use of extracorporeal life support or mechanical circulatory support can be beneficial to provide end organ support and prevent arrest. We need to be prepared for early consideration of extracorporeal CPR in these children. For out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, bag and mask ventilation is as good as advanced airway intervention as endotracheal intubation. In those children who require advanced airway placement, cuffed endotracheal tube is preferred over uncuffed tubes. This reduces air leaks and thus helps in better ventilation in patients with poor pulmonary compliance. There is also reduced need of tube changes. The cuff inflation pressure need to be kept below 20 mm of mercury. Systematic reviews which showed no significant difference between post-extubation stridor and need of ET tube exchange. Routine use of cricoid pressure can impede visualization during laryngoscopy and chest rise with bag and mask ventilation. Hence, routine use of cricoid pressure is not recommended during endotracheal intubation of pediatric patients. If cricoid pressure is used, it is discontinued if it interferes with ventilation or the speed or ease of intubation. When it comes to assisted ventilation, earlier recommendation stated use of assisted ventilation rates of 10 to 12 breaths per minute, which corresponded to 1 breath every 5 to 6 seconds. With newer evidence, we now understand that in children less than 1 year, there is no association between ventilation rate and either diastolic BP or systolic BP. However, in children more than 1 year, there was no association between ventilation rate and diastolic BP, but the systolic BP dropped significantly as ventilation rate increased. The same group demonstrated that in infants, ventilation rate between 30 to 50 and beyond infancy, a ventilation rate between 20 to 40 was associated with better outcomes. Thus, the present recommendation is to aim for an assisted ventilation rate of 20 to 30 breaths per minute, that is, 1 breath every 2 to 3 seconds. Bag and mask ventilation is as good as endotracheal ventilation. With regards to opioid overdose, naloxone is used only to reverse the respiratory arrest due to opioid overdose. There is no evidence for use in cardiac arrest. We need to focus on high quality CPR in conditions of cardiac arrest similar to other conditions. Return of spontaneous circulation is not the endpoint of resuscitation care. A good post-resuscitation care with prevention of hypotension, hypoxia or hyperoxia, and hypocapnia and hypercapnia is warranted. Targeted temperature management in the initial 72 hours is advocated. Where feasible, continuous EEG monitoring is recommended as non-convulsive status is common in this phase. Delay the prognosis until 72 hours after return to normal temperature. AHA has also endorsed a specific cohort of septic patients where fluid resuscitation in sepsis should be based on patient's response with frequent assessment. Balanced crystalloids, unbalanced crystalloids, and colloids all are acceptable for sepsis resuscitation. Epinephrine or norepinephrine infusion should be considered for fluid refractory septic shock. The new guidelines has also given the steps of post-resuscitation care for adults following return of spontaneous circulation. The key features include multimodal monitoring, evaluation and treatment of rapidly reversible etiologies, and involvement of expert consultations for continued management. Apart from clinical management, imaging, electrophysiology, and biomarkers have been used in order to prognosticate any adult during the post-resuscitation phase. The last change is addition of a sixth link to the existing chain of survival. These include early recognition and prevention of arrest, activation of emergency response, high quality CPR, advanced resuscitation, post-cardiac arrest care, and finally recovery. Is an important component of the chain of survival. The survivors can have physical, cognitive, and emotional disability. Thorough evaluation periodically by multidisciplinary teams is essential, and they need an integrated rehabilitation for months to years. These children need to be kept under follow-up, and a multidisciplinary approach has to be implemented at least 1 year following cardiac arrest. To summarize, the recent updates include high quality CPR, assisted ventilation with the rates of 20 to 30 per minute, early use of epinephrine in non-shockable rhythms, preferably within 5 minutes. Bag and mask ventilation is as good as endotracheal intubation in out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. Cuffed ET tubes is preferred to uncuffed ET tubes. Cricoid pressure not to be used routinely. Naloxone is used for respiratory arrest in suspected or confirmed opioid overdose. Post-arrest care is an essential component of resuscitation. Appropriate fluid management and early use of vasopressors while resuscitating a septic child. And finally, recovery as a sixth link in the chain of survival. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe us, and you can follow us in the following platforms for latest updates.